YouTube was quick on picking up.
Ale mamy 13 osób na Facebooku, więc tutaj mamy rzeszę fanów. 12 osób, okej. Dobra, przepraszamy, na YouTubie nam wywaliło ze względu na to, że użyliśmy piosenki objętej prawami autorskimi. Więc no, mam nadzieję, że przyjdziecie na tego drugiego live'a tutaj. No i co? No i możemy, jak już pokazałeś herbatę, to możemy zaczynać.
Black with milk, sugar, and the best thing. I have another one. Herbatnik, tea biscuit. It's literally in the name. Tea biscuit. Tea with biscuit. Cheers. Nice. So that's how we drink our tea in England.
Przestań to robić, to jest chore.
Yeah, yes. It's not. It's not at all. Love it. So, moving on. Today's, just to reintroduce for the new YouTube video, today's live will be all about how to do London like a Londoner. So some little tips and tricks on how I live my daily life in London, and some kind of different ways to save money, ways to make your life easier moving around central London, and just some interesting facts about London and how I live my life in London, and how you can as well as a tourist coming to London for a holiday, or if you plan to move to London one day yourselves. Do you want to translate that?
Czyli będziemy wam opowiadać, znaczy Jake będzie opowiadał, ja będę trochę tłumaczyć. No właśnie jak poprawnie London, czyli jak zachowywać się jak taki prawdziwy Londyńczyk, jak fajnie, najlepiej skorzystać z wakacji w Londynie, nie będąc takim typowym turystą.
Fantastic. So let's jump straight in. I have a little list here to remind me all the things, because there are quite a few. So the first one, some of these annoy me as tourists. I'm not blaming tourists out there, but a lot of people who come to London don't know this rule, because I know the custom doesn't exist in Poland. So when you're on any escalator in England, in most cases, specifically the underground, there is a rule: stand on the right-hand side of the escalator and you walk on the left. And you will separate the Londoners to the tourists by seeing who is standing on the left-hand side of the escalator and who is walking. And Londoners get very annoyed. So this is my tip number 1 for London: stand on the right, walk on the left.
Tak, czyli na ruchomych schodach stoimy po prawej stronie, a chodzimy po lewej stronie. I w tym sposobem można odróżnić rodowitego Londyńczyka od turysty, turyści niektórzy nie wiedzą właśnie, że prawa strona schodów ruchomych jest do tego, żeby stać i sobie jechać, a lewa strona do tego, żeby biec, chodzić, czy po prostu się przemieszczać.
Fantastic. So, second one. Another one that really bugs me is that you can spot a Londoner really easily by seeing how people move through the barriers into the London Underground. And you might be familiar with something called an Oyster card, which is a little digital card, just like a bank card, but without any numbers, that you tap onto a reader and it lets you through, and it's prepaid with money. You can also use contactless on it now, and it opens the barriers and you walk through. And as a Londoner, I would always recommend have this card in your hand before you approach the barrier. And that way, when it's very crowded, you move through very quickly. The worst thing that happens is when you're behind someone who approaches the barrier, stops when it's busy, then goes through their bag, can't find their card. A minute later, they find their card and go through. It's annoying. So tip number 2, have your card ready before you get to the barrier, so you move through quickly and surely.
Czyli w Londynie do transportu publicznego używamy zwykle karty Oyster, którą doładowuje się pieniędzmi, albo można też ewentualnie używać karty płatniczej bankomatowej. I chodzi o to, żeby po prostu mieć tę kartę gotową, zanim dojdziemy do barierek w metrze, żeby po prostu nie blokować ruchu, kiedy jest dużo ludzi. I niektórzy właśnie robią tak, że podchodzą do barierki i dopiero wtedy zaczynają szukać tej karty i blokują po prostu milion ludzi, którzy czekają, na to, żeby też się szybko dostać do metra.
Exactly. And I just seen a message from Oleg. Typical Londoners drink coffee. What? From coffee shops before they go to work. This is true. And that's the next one on my list. Well, actually, it's on my list, but will be now the next one. Is that if you want to move around like a Londoner, it's very true that we do love a coffee shop. De Niro, as a chain. I think you get them in Warsaw in Poland, but nowhere else. But they're everywhere in England. Provide for me the nice tip. It's £4.50 for an average coffee. So Cafe Nero, if you want to get your typical Londoner latte on your way to work or wherever you're going, Cafe Nero is the best and the cheapest.
Czyli na poranną kawę w Londynie polecamy Cafe Nero, gdzie według Jake'a jest najlepsza kawa i też najtańsza kawa.
This is not sponsored by Cafe Nero. It's just my personal favorite and cheapest. So moving on to the next one. Just another tip, if you are thinking about moving to London and if you drive in Poland already, I would recommend maybe try not relying on a car straight away in London. The transport system in London is so great and so huge, and I would say cheaper than driving. It's not necessary to drive in London unless you need it to transport stuff to work. If you're just transporting yourself, rely on the public transport, because it's efficient, quick and cheap, and driving in central London can be a nightmare sometimes as well.
Czyli w Londynie nie ma sensu w zasadzie używać samochodu, ponieważ w Londynie transport jest tak rozwinięty, tak prosty, łatwy, szybki, że to po prostu się bardziej opłaca, szczególnie, że korki są straszne, a kiedy jedziemy metrem, no to oczywiście korków nie ma. Co prawda jest często dużo ludzi, ale wydaje mi się, że to i tak jest lepszy sposób niż ewentualne jeżdżenie samochodem. Przepraszam.
Fantastic. So, moving on to number, I can't remember which. This is a personal tip they're all personal tips from me, but the next one is, if you've been to London, or I guess this app might work in other cities as well, you might be familiar with the app City Mapper. City Mapper can be useful because it's a friendly design. I often find City Mapper is not useful. I often find that it takes you to wrong locations sometimes, or maybe to the right location, but it takes you on an extremely Transport for London Journey Planner or Google Maps are by far the best apps you can use to get around London. Apple Maps, no. We found that out driving around many places, as the sat nav takes you to dead ends. The same in London, takes you on ridiculous routes. And City Mapper, I don't trust it either. The only good thing about City Mapper is that it does tell you which part of the carriage of a tube train to travel in, depending on where your exit is. In my case, I know many of them already by myself, but it's good. But overall, don't trust City Mapper, trust Google Maps and TfL Journey Planner. There is also an app for these ones as well.
Tak, czyli żeby poruszać się po Londynie, polecamy aplikację City Mapper, bo Jake wytłumaczył, że bardzo często pokazują
It takes you on long routes or expensive routes.
Czyli no takie convenient.
Yeah, it's not so convenient.
Drogi pokazuje skomplikowane albo po prostu drogie jakieś, no. Generalnie Google Maps i TfL coś tam.
Journey Planner. TfL Journey Planner. And so, moving on to my next top tip for being a Londoner and moving around London will be, if you're coming to London just for a short stay and you need to get around, paper tickets aren't very common soon, and they're going to switch completely to contactless. But if you're coming just for a short stay and you want to get an Oyster card, it costs £5 from any train station, and when you have to top it up with money to use. But when you leave London, if you're going back to your country because from a holiday in London, you can return this Oyster card to any train station and they will give you back £5. Provided it's registered to your name. But you can just do that online.
Is it? I thought they gave you anyway.
I think it's registered. It has to be registered. Just register the number to your name. But either way, you can get the £5 back for your Oyster card.
Czyli jak przyjeżdżacie do Londynu, kupujecie sobie tę kartę Oyster, żeby płacić za podróże, to pod koniec wycieczki możecie te karty zwrócić na jakiejkolwiek stacji train station, nie? No, underground station.
Say that again. Any train station or underground station.
Aha.
Anywhere.
Czyli na jakiejkolwiek stacji metra albo pociągów i zwrócą wam ten depozyt 5 funtów. Tylko z tego, co mówi Jake, musicie tę kartę zarejestrować, ale można to zrobić przez internet.
Mhm. So moving on swiftly. So the next one about what. So that was a lot about travel and getting around London. Those would be my top tips. Top tips: rely on transport rather than driving, and how to use them. Next will be about what to do in London for kind of maybe more as a tourist, but also I do these things as well, and how and where and how expensive. So will be first. If you want to visit museums and galleries in London, art galleries or any national museums, absolutely do, because most of them are free. 9 times out of 10, they're free. And maybe within these museums, you will have 1 or 2 exhibitions that you have to pay for. But most museums and galleries are completely free. You can just walk in and look at whatever they have on offer for free. Some being the Victoria and Albert Museum, the Natural History Museum, the British Museum, the National Gallery, the Tate Modern, the Tate Britain. The list could go on. There are so many. The Science Museum. They're all great and they're all free.
Czyli bardzo wiele galerii i muzeów w Londynie jest za darmo, więc nie musicie płacić. Są jakieś, wiadomo, czasem wystawy, które są dodatkowo płatne, ale większość muzeów i galerii jest odpłatnych. Tak na przykład Muzeum Historii Naturalnej, Muzeum Nauki, Muzeum Wiktorii i Alberta,
National Gallery,
Galeria Narodowa,
Tate
Modern,
Britain.
czyli
That's another tip on museums and galleries. Go to them because they are free. The next one would be how to get around. Say, for example, you're in London for just 3 days. And although the tube is great, you want to maybe travel around London and you maybe want to walk to sightsee from one destination to another. The best way I would recommend you can do this is to use a system called Santander Cycles. So they are bikes, pedal bikes, sponsored by Santander, the bank, and they're red. And you can hire them. I think there's a system in Warsaw that's similar. You can hire them and take them and just ride them all around London and station them wherever there are docks. There's an app where you can find where to find them. And the best thing about this is that if you station the bike every half an hour, within a half an hour, and you can take them back out, for the whole day, this costs you £1.50. So it's a very, very good option to cycle around the whole of London for a day, to sightsee by bike, and it costs you just £1.50.
Czyli w Londynie są takie stacje rowerowe, z których możecie wypożyczać rowery. Są one sponsorowane przez Bank Santander. I jeśli kosztuje to £1.50 na pół godziny, so if you station them, it just
every half an hour in different. You can station it anywhere on any dock.
Then it's only
£1.50
for the whole day.
For the whole day.
Czyli jeśli co godzinę będziecie je odstawiać i brać z powrotem, zapłacicie tylko £1.50 za cały dzień. Więc jest to bardzo opłacalne i fajna forma zwiedzania Londynu.
Exactly. So, moving on. What would be the next one? One in central London. One thing most Londoners hate the sight of are souvenir shops and those awful American sweet shops. I can't remember the names. There are so many now. Sweet World or can you remember their names? I can't even.
Sweet Kingdom?
Kingdom of Sweets. There are so many. They're awful. They're bright and they're an eyesore. And they are incredibly expensive. You can get one chocolate bar for £6. So it's just ridiculous. So avoid them. But of course, if you want some American sweets, then go and buy them. But I would recommend it's not cheap to do so.
Tak, czyli w Londynie są takie sklepy amerykańskie z amerykańskimi słodyczami i Jake odradza chodzenie do nich i razi ich unikać, ponieważ są one moim zdaniem jakąś tam atrakcją turystyczną, ale są bardzo, bardzo drogie i naprawdę można tam bardzo dużo pieniędzy wydać i nie jest to zbyt opłacalne, więc raczej radzimy tego unikać. Jeśli chcecie jakieś angielskie słodycze, to można kupić je w Tesco na przykład. Yeah, if you want some English sweets, you can buy them
English sweets are better. If
in
you want to go to
Tesco.
London, try
Jeśli
some
koniecznie,
good English sweets.
jeśli koniecznie chcecie jakieś takie amerykańskie słodycze, których nie ma ani w Anglii, ani w Polsce, no to pewnie, że możecie sobie tam kupić czy coś w takim sklepie, no ale tak jak mówimy, one są bardzo drogie, no i nie za bardzo się opłaca to.
News agents in London as well. And a great thing about Time Out magazine is that every week they release a feature of anything cool that is happening in London that week. So anything to do. So theatre to see, exhibitions that are on, outdoor entertainment, street performances, kind of anything that's happening that week in London. You can find in Time Out magazine what's on. It's called What's On London in Time Out.
Polecamy magazyn gazety Time Out, gdzie możecie, co oni co tydzień publikują informacje, co dzieje się w danym tygodniu w Londynie, co ciekawego można zobaczyć. Jest to online, tak?
Yeah, it's online as well.
Czyli można też online po prostu zobaczyć ten magazyn, or you can buy it at a shop, I guess.
Any news agents.
No i można też kupić w sklepie, w jakimś kiosku. Więc polecamy to bardzo serdecznie, jeśli jedziecie do Londynu, no może nie teraz, ale w przyszłości, to polecamy właśnie sprawdzić sobie w magazynie Time Out, co akurat w ten czas będzie się działo.
And that article is always called What's on London.
Czyli tak się nazywa właśnie. We have to finish in 5 minutes.
Aha.
What about Minecraft?
I thought.
Yeah, because
17.
This is the second
Right.
live, so.
Okay, so let's do 2 more and then quickly 2 minutes on Minecraft, yeah? I want to pick, I have quite a few more. Oh my goodness, I have loads more.
Maybe I would say Sky Garden.
Sky Garden and the boat, maybe. Theatre tickets. I want to do theatre tickets. I think that's a really great one. As someone who works in theatre myself, this is a really, really important one I would recommend. That if you want to go to any theatre show in London, be it West End or some small fringe theatre production, the best way to get cheap tickets, because sometimes West End theatre can be ridiculously expensive. I'm talking £200 a seat. So if you want to get a cheap theatre ticket, the best way to do this is to pick the show specifically you want to see, and then find out where it plays. Go to that theatre in the morning of the day you want to see it. At 10 a.m. usually, the box office opens. You queue in the morning and you buy your ticket at the theatre for something like £20 usually, and then that play will perform that evening, you buy it. We call it day tickets in London, and it's honestly the best way to get cheap theatre tickets in town. And I would definitely not recommend and suggest you avoid this TKTS tickets stand in Leicester Square, who aim selling theatre tickets to tourists, and it's an incredible rip-off. They're so expensive, and they try to tell you it's not, but it is. Get day tickets at the theatre of the show you want to see on the morning of the show you want to see.
Czyli jeśli chcemy iść w Londynie do teatru, najlepszym sposobem na tanie bilety jest wybranie sobie sztuki, którą chcemy zobaczyć, dowiedzenie się, gdzie grana jest sztuka i pójście w dniu spektaklu rano około 10 do tego teatru lub do tego miejsca, gdzie grana jest sztuka, iść tam po prostu do kasy, poczekać w kolejce i kupić tani bilet za około 20 funtów. Unikamy tych takich wszystkich standów na Leicester Square, czyli w centrum Londynu, gdzie oni oferują niby tanie bilety z jakąś zniżką, a tak naprawdę jest to zdzierstwo. Więc polecamy, Jake poleca pójście do teatru rano i kupienie biletów w kasie w ten dzień, w który chcemy zobaczyć sztukę.
And we're running out of time, so we're going to do one more that I would recommend, even though I have many, many more, which is sad. Maybe we will write them somewhere at some point. But the last one I will recommend will be the Sky Garden in London. And
hello again. I've been there actually.
So Sky Garden. I must confess I've never been, but I do know.
Basia has been there too.
I do know that it is one of the highest viewing points of London, and on the one of the top floors of skyscraper
True.
in the centre. And the best thing about this is that you can see the London skyline, and it's free, right? It's completely free. The only yeah.
Tak, czyli w Londynie jest coś takiego jak Sky Garden. Jest to taki jakby ogród na wysokim piętrze wieżowca i jest to coś, co jest za darmo. Zamiast na przykład iść na Shard, czyli najwyższy budynek w Londynie i płacić ile? 30 funtów?
Tak,
Za wejście
oczywiście.
można iść
ja
za
thought you said
darmo
that.
i naprawdę porównywalny widok zobaczyć, tylko trzeba po prostu zarezerwować to wcześniej.
Tak jest, bardzo polecamy. Oprócz tego, że są piękne widoki Londynu, które są opisane na 4 strony świata, miejsca, które można zobaczyć z danego punktu Sky Garden są opisane na samych szybach, na przykład St. Paul's Cathedral or Tower Bridge or
London
the
Eye.
Tower, London Eye. So you can't see really LondonEye from there, can you?
From
Sky Garden.
yeah,
can
probably
you?
not. It's
Probably
around the
not.
corner, I guess.
Or just in the distance. Także piękne widoki, ale również w Sky Garden, jak sama nazwa mówi, jest to ogród tak naprawdę. Jest to piękny, kilkupoziomowy ogród, mnóstwo roślinności i wśród tej roślinności zatopione kafejki, jakieś bary, można zjeść, można się czegoś napić, można fajnie spędzić czas. Także bardzo polecamy, to jest zupełnie nowa rzecz, od kilku lat dopiero stoi ten budynek. So.
Can I do 2 more? Because they're really important.
Right,
Do we have the
let's
time?
go.
If we don't have the time, then we'll
No,
have
let's go
I have
on.
two
but
cool
that's
ones.
fine.
So 2 more that I really have to squeeze in there because I think they're really, really cool for people who might
Maybe
not know them.
we want to Minecraft today and we will devote more time for Minecraft tomorrow.
It's possible, yeah. We can do that.
Więc
Alright.
dzisiaj po prostu troszkę przedłużymy angielską część i nie będziemy robić Minecrafta, a jutro troszkę dłużej o Minecrafcie pogadamy.
Tak,
Sounds
tak.
like a good plan. So the 2 more, you can see I'm passionate about this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, me too.
2 more that I would really recommend that I think you didn't even know that I told you earlier is the first one is if you want to see London from the river, so you want to go down, I think it's quite popular in any capital city to take a boat or a cruise down the river to see all of the main sites. In London, you have many, many companies, private boat trips called, like I can't even remember what they're called, Thames Clippers or London Cruises, whatever. I think they're quite pricey to take and go down the river, and they give you like a guide of London as you go down. But I would recommend, and not many people know this, that you can take something called the river bus, and the river bus is it's a boat service just like the transport for London. So like the tube, like buses. This is a boat service every 20 minutes that goes down the river and stops at every single pier, and it's used as a mode of transport for people working in the city. And you can use it with your Oyster card just as you would your tube or your bus, and it costs I think £3.50 or £4 per journey, which is incredibly cheaper than the cruises on the river, or the private cruises. So I would recommend taking that. It's called the River Bus. I think sponsored by O2, so O2 River Bus maybe. So look into that, and you can again use your Oyster card to travel on them. It's a cheaper way to do it.
True.
Czyli
Czyli
w
opowiadaj.
Londynie jest coś takiego jak wodny autobus, który jest o wiele tańszy niż takie łódki, które się wypożycza, na które się chodzi i płaci się dużo pieniędzy, żeby przepłynąć się po Tamizie. I warto jest skorzystać właśnie z takiego basu, który kosztuje około 3,54 za podróż i zatrzymuje się on w każdej stacji, w każdym przystanku wodnym na Tamizie.
PS one się nazywają.
And the last one I want to say, just 3 or 4 places I would really recommend going to see in London that maybe aren't so obvious to a tourist. For example, the obvious ones would be Tower Bridge, London Eye, Big Ben. Although you can't see Big Ben at the moment, it's in scaffolding. But some other places that I would really recommend seeing as a Londoner, and the places that I still go to are, number 1 would be the Barbican Centre. It's a beautiful, beautiful, brutalist kind of area.
Housing
Estate. It's a housing estate essentially, and there's an art centre in the middle of it as well, and a beautiful conservatory and very nice places to eat. It's a beautiful area, so do go see the Barbican. The South Bank, I think, might be slightly obvious, but again, it's one of my favourite places in London, where the National Theatre is, and the Tate Modern, the Shakespeare's Globe. Do go to the South Bank. Any of the royal parks, so Hyde Park, St James's Park, Green Park, Regent's Park, they're all great. Where else?
That's about
I
it.
think that's about it. Those are the places I would really recommend going seeing that aren't so obvious. So do check them out.
All right, so that's about it. Yeah, we can
Mhm.
call it a day.
Exactly, and we will come back to Minecraft and do more on Minecraft tomorrow. We will look at different ores, and we will look at different what else? Different monsters. I think it was maybe that's Sunday, but we will come on more about Minecraft tomorrow.
Dobra.
All right, then. So
Thank
see
you
you
so
tomorrow. A
much.
jutro
Dziękujemy.
jeszcze? Co będziemy robić? What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow will be English idioms versus Polish idioms, and we will
Będzie
compare the two.
śmiesznie.
It will be, hopefully.
Tak, i zapraszamy za niedługo, za 10-15 minut na live'a z Minecrafta i oczywiście na nasz serwer.
Tak jest. See
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Zakończ transmisję and bye bye Facebook.